If you open your Meta Ads Manager in the last few weeks and notice something new in the tool menu called Manus, you're not alone, and you're right to want to understand what it actually is before you start clicking around, because there's a lot of noise around this. Some people are calling it the end of media buying as we know it. Others have tested it and found it's unreliable. The truth, as unusual, is somewhere in the middle. And the middle is generally interesting. Here's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to tell you exactly what Manus is, why Meta paid over $2 billion for it, what it actually does inside your ads manager right now, and what it cannot do, and most importantly, what this means for DTC brands and media buying in 2026. No hype, no panic, just what you actually need to know. Section 1, what Manus actually is and why it's different. What is Manus? The distinction that matters. To understand why Manus is significant, you need to understand the difference between a chat box and an AI agent, because they are fundamentally different things, and even though both involve AI. A chat box responds. You give it a prompt, it generates an answer, the conversation ends. ChatGPT, Meta AI, Google Gemini in basic form. These are responsive tools. You ask, they answer. An AI agent executes. You give it a goal, not a question, a goal, and it breaks down the goal down into sequences of tasks, selected tools it needs to complete each task, executes them in order, and delivers a finished result, without you managing each step, without you being present for every action it takes. Here's a concrete example of the difference. If you ask a chat box to analyze your campaign performance, it will tell you what kind of analysis you could run. If you give Manus the same goal, it would actually go into accounts, pull the data, run the analysis, and hand you down formatted report. The input is a goal. The output is a completed piece of work. That's a distinction, and it's why Meta paid over $2 billion to bring this technology into its advertising platform. Manus was originally built as a startup called Butterfly Effect, founded in China in 2002. The company later moved its headquarters into Singapore. By early 2005, it had gone public with a general purpose, anonymous agent that very quickly gained global attention. By the time Meta acquired it in late December 2005, Manus has processed more than 147 trillion tokens, which is an almost incomprehensible amount of computation work, and has spun over 80 million virtual computing environments to complete tasks for users. It had approximately 100 million in annual recurring revenue. It was not a science project, it was a commercial product with real usage at scale. The way Manus works technically is through what's called a multi-agent architecture. There's a central planner agent, think of it as the brain, that receives your goal and breaks it into subtasks. Those subtasks get distributed to specialized sub-agent. One that can browse the web, one that can analyze data, one that manages knowledge and synthesizes, one that verifies the output before it returns to you. They work in parallel sequences to complete end-to-end work. The other key capability, Manus can continue operating when you're not actively watching. You give it tasks, you give it something else, and it completes the work and notifies you. That's generally different from anything that's been in Ads Manager before. In section 2, the $2 billion acquisition, why Meta moves so fast. The acquisition. The speed is the signal. Meta announced the acquisition in Manus on December 29, 2005. By February 17, 2026, 7 weeks later, Manus was live inside Ads Manager for all advertisers. 7 weeks from acquisition announcement to platform deployment for a company the size of Meta, with the compliance, engineering, and legal complexity involved in integrating an acquired company's technology, that is extremely fast. And the speed itself tells you something important about Meta's priorities right now. Here's the context you need. Meta committed between 115 and 135 billion in capital expenditure for 2026 alone. That's nearly double what they spent in 2025. It's one of the largest technology investment commitment in corporate history, and a significant portion of it's going into AI infrastructure, GPU, cluster data center, model development. The problem, Meta investment are getting impatient for the investment to show tangible results. Meta AI generates enormous user interaction, but the company hasn't found a way to directly monetize most of it yet. advertisers, however, is a direct monetization channel. It generates real revenue. In Q4 of 2025, Meta reported 581 billion in advertiser revenue, up to 24% year over year. Embedding Manus directly into the ads manager is the clearest and most direct way Meta can connect its AI investment to advertising performance and demonstrate to its investor that the spending is generating measurable return. And that is why it moves fast. The ad platform is where Meta can immediately show the value of what it's been building. One important note on the acquisition, because it is the news and some of you may have questioned about it. Manus was founded with deep roots in China. While it had moved headquarters to Singapore before the acquisition, the Chinese government has been probing the deal. Meta publicly committed to severing all Chinese ownership ties as a condition of completing the acquisition and winding down Manus' operation in China entirely. For advertisers, the practical implication is this: Meta has stated it's ensuring Manus operates under US regulatory standard, which has implications for how advertiser data is handled within the system. It's a situation worth monitoring, but it's not a reason to avoid using the tool, especially given that Meta itself is the steward of the platform and your ad data was already in Meta's ecosystem. Section 3. What Manus does inside Ads Manager right now. First, how to find it. Open your Ads Manager. In left navigation menu, click Tool. Manus is listed alongside Instant Form, Meta Library, and your other tool. Some accounts are seeing it as a pop-up prompt on the account overview page that says, I'm quoting Meta directly here. Manus is your new AI work partner that can automate tasks for your business like analyzing data, generating report, and more. If you don't see it yet, it's still rolling out to some accounts, but Meta has stated it's now available to all advertisers. Check your tools Manus. If you're still not seeing it, give it a few days. The rollout is complete in stages. There's no additional changes for Manus. It's included within your existing Ads Manager access. Just need an admin or editor permission on the account. What it actually does. 4 core capability. Here's what Manus can do inside Ads Manager right now. I'm going to be precise because the space between what's capable of and what people think it can do is where most of the confusion lives. Capability 1. Automated report generation. You can give Manus a natural language request, something like generate a 30-day performance comparison of all my active campaigns, and it will pull the relevant data from your account, analyze it, identify trends, and produce a formatted summary report. This is probably its highest value current use case. The access Manus has to Meta's Ads Manager API means it can pull and synthesize campaign data faster than any manual reporting workflow. What would take a media buyer an hour of Ads Manager pulling and spreadsheet work, Manus can do in minutes. Capability 2. Audience research. Manus can analyze your existing audience segment, their performance pattern, demographic distribution, engagement signal, and surface insight about which audiences are driving your best result. It can suggest refinement to your targeting strategy based on those patterns. It can also use its access to Meta's ads library to research how competitors are targeting and messaging. Capability 3. Competitive analysis. This is actually one of the more immediately useful applications because Manus has access to Meta's public ad library. You can access to analyze what your competitors are running, what creative formats they're using, how long their ads have been running, what messages pattern they're learning on. Building a competitive landscape report that would normally require an analyst to manually browse the ad library and compile a spreadsheet can be delegated to Manus. Capability 4. Scheduled and recurring analysis tasks. You can set Manus to run recurring reports on the schedule, weekly performance summaries, monthly trend analysis, ongoing audience health checks, and have those reports waited for you rather than building them each time from scratch. What real-world testing is showing. Now, I want to be honest with you about real-world performance because the early reports from practitioners are mixed in an important way. The consensus from agencies and media buyers who have tested Manus in its first week is this: the report generation and data pulling is generally faster and more convenient than previously manual processes. The API access to Ads Manager data in turnkey way that Manus provides, particularly for competitive research through the ads library, is described as valuable even in its early stage. However, and this matters, hallucination is a real issue in some outputs. Chris Riggers, last name Rigas, VP of Media at agency Marketing, has publicly stated that in their testing, Manus' output were often unreliable enough that he won't send them directly to clients without verification. Ryan Sculter, last name SCHUSTR from Brain Labs, pointed out the pattern from early generative AI days. Tools that automate tasks and hallucinate data can actually create problems that take significant time to unwind. This is the honest picture of where Manus is right now. Generally promising infrastructure, early stage reliability, use it as an accelerator for tasks you're going to verify, not as an automation replacement for tasks you won't check. The direction is right. The tool isn't fully mature yet. The combination should inform exactly how to integrate it into your workflow. Now, section 4, what Manus cannot do yet and why that matters. The current limit, the execution boundary. Here is the most important thing to understand about what Manus does and does not do inside Ads Manager right now. Manus operates at the intelligent and analysis level. It cannot execute campaign directly. It cannot create new ad set. It cannot modify your live campaigns. It cannot adjust your bids or your budget. This is still the domain of Meta Advantage Plus Suite, the automation system that handles actual campaign delivery optimization, and Advantage Plus is separate from Manus. They're complementary. Manus handles strategic intelligence. Advantage Plus handles real-time delivery execution. The way to think about it, Manus is very capable analyst who can read the whole instrument panel and give you a complete picture of what's happening. Advantage Plus is the autopilot that actually controls the panel with defined parameters. Right now, Manus is the analyst. It's not yet the pilot. Mark Zuckerberg stated ambition is for Meta to eventually subsume the entire media planning and buying process within its AI system. There are credible reports that the company's internal goal is to have AI handle a substantially larger portion of advertising decision by the end of 2026. But that is the decision of travel, not the current state. Anyone telling you that Manus has replaced media buying right now is overstating the current capabilities. The gap between now and where this is going. The gap between what Manus does today and what it will do in 12 months is generally significant. The current deployment is, by Meta's own framing, a foundation. The company has the infrastructure investment, the user base, over 4 billion people, the advertising data at scale no competitors matches, and now the agentic AI technology to potentially automate the full campaign management lifecycle. What it does, what it doesn't have yet is the reliability and the trust from advertisers to execute campaigns automatically without having human oversight, and that trust has to be earned incrementally through consistent, accurate output over time. The hallucination problem is a thing that has to be solved before autonomous campaign execution becomes real. Now, in section 5, what does this mean for D2C brands and media buyers in 2026? This is not the end of media buying. It is the automation of the operational layer. Let me give you the framework that I think it's most useful for thinking about this. What Manus automates: reporting, data pooling, audience research, competitive analysis. Is the operational layer of media buying. It's the work that consumes significant time but doesn't require strategic thinking or strategic judgment. It's the work that a skilled analyst does, not the work that a skilled strategic does. What Manus does not automate and what no AI tool currently automates well is the judgment layer, which often will resonate with this audience right now. Which creative angle is worth testing and why? How to interpret a plateau in campaign performance and what structure changes to make. How to balance short-term efficiency metrics against long-term brand positioning. These decisions require context, experience, and judgment, and isn't replicated by a system that can pull and analyze data. The practical implication: the media buyers and marketers who will be most affected negatively by this are the ones who primarily value what is the operational layer. Pulling report, building spreadsheet, compiling comprehensive overview, those are getting automated. The one who value is the strategic layer, knowing what the data means, knowing what to do about it, knowing how to brief and evaluate creatives, knowing how to build a scaling system that compounds over time. Those people become more valuable, not less, because the operational work that used to compete for their attention is being handled. 3 things to do right now. So what should you actually do with this? 3 things. First, activate Manus in your Ads Manager and test it on real reporting tasks this week. Don't approach it with either excitement or skepticism, approach it as a tool you're evaluating. Give it a specific task, a 30-day campaign performance comparison, or a competitive analysis of a specific competitor in Meta Ads library. Evaluate the output against what you would have produced manually. Is it faster? Is it accurate? Where does it fall short? Build your own picture of the current capability rather than relying on a secondhand report. Second, think carefully about which part of your current workflow are in the operational layer versus the strategic layer. If a significant portion of your value or your team's value is in the tasks that Manus can do faster, that's important information. It's not a crisis, but it's a signal to shift where you're investing your attention and where you're building your expertise. Third, watch the space closely. Meta stated ambitious is significant. The 115 to 135 billion in AI infrastructure investment in 2026 alone represents a level of commitment that will produce a meaningful capability advances. The distance between where Manus is today and where it's going to be 12 to 18 months is likely to be substantial. Early familiarity with the tool, understanding its current limitation, knowing how to prompt it effectively, building the habit of integrating AI into your workflow, creates a real advantage of when those capability advance arrives. The honest bottom line, here's where I land on this. Manus inside Meta Ads Manager is generally significant, not because it replaces what skilled DTC advertisers and media buyers do, it doesn't yet, but because it's the clearest signal yet of where the platform is going. We are in early innings of advertising workflow being restructured around AI agents. The brands and agencies that start understanding how to work along those tools now, how to direct them, how to verify their outputs, how to integrate them into strategy rather than treating them as a replacement for strategy, are going to have a meaningful advantage over the ones who ignore it until it's impossible to. The tool is available in your Ads Manager right now. Go test it, build your own understanding. The most dangerous thing you can do with this technology is either dismiss it entirely or hand it unchecked authority. Neither extreme serves you. The middle path, curious, skeptical, engaged, is the right one. Let me give you a quick summary. Meta acquired Manus, a general-purpose AI agent, for over $2 billion in December 2025 and had it live in Ads Manager for all advertisers by February 17, 2026. 7 weeks from acquisition to deployment. What Meta is an AI agent that executes multi-step tasks end-to-end. Not a chatbot that answers questions, but a system that completes work. What it currently does in Ads Manager: report generation, audience research, competitive analysis via the ads library, and schedule recurring tasks. What it does not yet do: execute campaigns, adjust budget, or modify live ad sets. That remains in Ads Manager plus Suite. What it means for you: the operational layer of media buying is getting automated. The strategic layer is getting more valuable. Test the tool, evaluate its output critically, and start building familiarity now before the capability curves advances significantly. If you found this useful, subscribe. I cover Meta Ads for DTC brands every week. The practical, honest, no fluff version. I'll be doing a follow-up to this video as soon as there are meaningful updates to what Manus can actually execute in Ads Manager. So subscribing is the best way to get that when it comes out. And if you want a second set of eyes on how your current Meta account is set up, whether you're ready to integrate tools like this effectively or whether there are more fundamental things worth fixing first, there's a link in the description to book a free audit call. I'll see you in the next one.